So on today for TFC Reviews, we got a Genesis. We have a Genesis GV80. Go ahead and do our quick little walk around, stepping around front. You have that massive Bentley-esque grille, which, some will say it's a little bit of a knockoff, but you know what? Hey, I love it. I think it actually works awesome. Go ahead and step around the side, that nice chrome treatment down those rocker panels, stepping around back, carrying that chrome again around on the bumpers, around the exhaust outlets. This one came from Florida. And it's also such a nice day today too. Like, this really looks great here parked on the beach. Really love, I think these are such handsome looking vehicles. And finally, there is a company out there that isn't afraid to put a little bit of design and flair into their vehicles. Now let's go and check and see if they carry that design into the inside. Go ahead and open up our front door on this Genesis GV80, and yes, they do. They do carry that design from the outside into the inside. That same flair, that same just beautiful design, they carry that through. Super excited to get this one on the road and give you guys my first thoughts and impressions on this GV80. Let's go ahead and get into it. Let's go and start up our Genesis GV80. So sometimes there's actually a little startup graphic on there. Maybe we can capture it later. But on this quick first, there's that note again, Avis. So change your oil. As I said, time and time again, this is why I don't rent, or this is why I don't buy from rental agencies or from fleet vehicles, because they typically don't keep up on the maintenance as good as they typically or really should. So yeah, just take that as a note when you are buying a used vehicle, that you should always buy certified pre-owned, and hopefully from either off lease, a personal lease, or from a single owner. But anyway, this Genesis GV80, what are our initial thoughts? I love a Genesis, actually. I think they're great vehicles, at least initially. So when I did start this up earlier today, I did have a little bit of what seems like a little bit of a misfire. So it was a little bit rough on startup. I'm going to see, maybe it's because maybe it needs like premium fuel and people aren't putting in premium fuel in it or something, but it was a little rough on startup. It smooths itself out, so hopefully that's not indicative of any type of long-term issues. It does have about 18,000 miles on it, so we'll see how it does on this road trip for today. But overall, just a very nice place to be. They're super comfortable. I've rented Genesis in the past, and I do like them. Like, this is what, when you're spending this kind of money, and it's within the category, it could be actually considered kind of a bargain, actually. So I think these start in the 50s, maybe high 50s. But when you compare what you get like from, American brands, or even some of the Japanese brands, Japanese is always gonna, at least historically, have, that quality and longevity out of the vehicle, but they never really were one for much design. This gives you design, and the long-term reliability is still out, still needs to be seen, but so far so good. Like, everything's laid out pretty well. The materials are decent. I'm thinking this is actually maybe a baser model. It doesn't have the panoramic sunroof or the ventilated seats, but overall this is base, and I will check on that later. It's pretty decent. I don't think this is actually real leather. I think it's like a leatherette, or that MB Tech stuff that they put like in a Mercedes. It's okay. Like, I think on a hot summer day it could be a little sticky. Luckily for winter days, you do have heated seats, so that's good. But let's go do a quick little overview of this Genesis GV80 and my initial thoughts of it. Initial thoughts, it's great. It drives nice. I believe this is just a 2.5T. We'll check on that later. We'll open up the hood when we do a longer review this afternoon after we get on the road. But so far, like, you know, as far as like, you know, pickup, able to get out of its own way, it's perfectly fine. We'll see like if it's actually worth upgrading to that V6, that twin turbo V6 on that 3.5, if that's worth the premium, or save yourself a few bucks and, you know, just stick with the 4-cylinder. What else? Nice materials. It has this wood-ish maybe material here, which isn't bad but nice. You know, it's not too chainy. What else? It's also very just laid out very nice. It has some style and design to it. Maybe not as flamboyant as like on a Mercedes, but they do put some style and design in these. I do like that. Like, American brands, take a note. Cadillac, please take a note. Like, I want to be a fan for Cadillac so bad. Like, they used to make such really cool cars, like back in the 50s and 60s, and had such a legacy, amazing brands like the Eldorado, Coupe de Villes, mainly Eldorados and Coupe de Villes, but and even like that Seville from like the STS Seville, you know, had that dreaded North Star V8, but from the 90s, that was a cool looking car, that sedan. Like, it was nice. That, you know, it was totally a departure from like normal Cadillacs, but then GM got in the way, so we'll just leave it at that. And then they had some really cool cars like with their CTS, their V lines, and then even when they had that late model that just discontinued, I think it was like a CT6 maybe, but with that Blackwing V8, that was a very cool car. But then GM got in the way. So we'll leave it at that. But all their SUVs, they're so generic. They're just not up to par. Like, I don't know how they can be competitive with like what, you know, is coming out of Korea. And even like if they want to pretend to compete against the Germans, that's funny. But it's really just kind of like, it's not even a competition. You know, just sorry Cadillac. And Lincoln, well, you know, you do try at least. Like, your interiors are, you know, at least styled. You do put a little style and design on the, you know, exteriors, but you still have a long way to go to still make up the gap. But anyway, we'll go real quick. One thing I mentioned too, what I do always prefer versus just a touchscreen, this does have a nice rotary, so you have two ways to adjust and go through your menus. I think it's very intuitive. You basically, this like startup screen has like a city view. From what I remember, you can actually change your themes on that, and so we'll see if we are able to do that later on. But all the menus are laid out pretty intuitively. Nice, easy, big chunky knob to scroll through all this. It's not too little. If you want to, you can touch, you know, screen if you prefer that, but I don't like a bunch of fingerprints all over everything. So if you do have the option to like avoid fingerprints, then this is a very nice way to navigate through the menus. I don't know if I mentioned, but this is a 2023, and I will insert like how to actually find, you know, what your vehicle it is. If you're ever curious, if you bought something used and you just want to double check, or if you're renting something, which, you know, this is, then you can double check in the, you know, door panel or door sill. You know, it's a door frame, door sill on your driver's side there. But this is a 2023, and they are updating this for 2025, maybe a 2026 model year, where all of this will become a giant screen. I personally like this layout better. I think having a nice real gauge, there's something like, I don't know, more luxurious, I think, about having like real gauges. It's becoming kind of the different option, I guess. It's becoming the outlier in things. So having a nice physical gauge, I think, is still nice. Whereas it's like a half physical, half digital. And also, I think in the more upgraded models, you get a full digital gauge. So actually, I kind of like this even better, because at least you still get one physical gauge. So if this does go out here, you can still see how fast you're going, how much gas you have. Whereas if this is all digital, then if it does go out, then you have no idea how fast you're going, how much gas you have left. So I do kind of prefer this layout better. Unfortunately, it's going away in the newer models. The steering wheel, it's always been a little weird to me. I'm not gonna lie, it gives me kind of like an older, when it was like old American like station wagons where they had just like the 2 spokes, or even like, it's like a mix of design themes. Like it's kind of like, I want to say maybe like a 1930s or 40s ish kind of design mixed with, maybe, don't quote me, it's still kind of early, but it's kind of funny. It's definitely not very sporty, but it's comfortable. It works. The materials on here are okay. Because again, I think this is more of a base model. I think as you upgrade in these, you get like a little bit nicer material on here. This is just kind of I don't think this is leather. I think it's something. It's still leagues better than what was in those early or mid 20-teens Sonatas and, base Hyundais, where it was literally just like the cheapest, most horrible, disgusting plastic you could ever imagine. What else? So we'll see how it feels throughout the day. I think it'll be fine. Guarantee, like, this does have adaptive cruise control, so that'll be very nice. I believe in Hyundai is in Genesis products too. They have the feature like where you can operate at all speeds, so it's gonna be very nice in that probably inevitable I-95 traffic I'll be sitting in. So that will be a very welcome feature to get me through all that. Here you do have some physical buttons and knobs for your climate control. Again, nice physical buttons to navigate on your screen, so it's not just, you have these secondary buttons here, so you're not just reliant on the screen here to basically navigate through it. So that's nice. One thing I think is a little, again, this is a near luxury car, so they have to kind of woo you with gimmicks, but this, I don't know how this will last. So say you pick this up in the used market, it has 75,000 miles on it. Will it give you another 75,000 miles? I don't know. Probably not. It already feels, this has, almost 19,000 miles on it, almost 19. And it already feels kind of, and it could just be the haptic, because it does give you a little bit of feedback when you do touch on it, but it's already kind of jiggly and wiggly. So we'll see in the Reddit articles if people are having issues with their little touch panel for their HVAC. A couple of this is, which again, I believe this is more of a standard base version of this Genesis GV80. It does come with heated seats. It does come with a heated steering wheel, dual zone climate control. It has rear zone 2, so one zone in the rear, which is nice. I believe those vents are down there. What else? Like I said, we'll go through all those menus later on today. Nice, beautiful rotary shift selector. So I find these actually pretty intuitive. I do like them. Of course, I also do like a nice, chunky lever, or if you do have like, all your, wishes come true, prefer a stick shift at the end of the day. So, but it's very difficult to find a stick shift. You'll never find a stick shift in a vehicle like this. So you got to take what you get. And then, they designed this pretty nice. I do prefer this over like little touch buttons. So the rotary, it's very easy to use. It's intuitive. Also design wise, rotary. So design very nice rotaries. Another cool thing too is that it uses these kind of roller tumblers for the radio to adjust the volume and then the tuning. So that's a little bit unique to Genesis. I haven't seen that before, really, in any other vehicle actually. I'm trying to think of any Mercedes. Mercedes has that haptic kind of like that swoosh, that fake slide, virtual sliding, we'll call it. So that's kind of nice. Your drive modes are there. We'll go through those later. But overall, I think this is going to get high marks. All the car review, car and driver, Jim Motor Trends, car and driver, I think gives this a 10 out of 10. So I think that's, that says a lot. And especially when you compare it against, it's a very, very competitive segment. You have offerings from all the major manufacturers, Mercedes, BMW, Audi, Lexus, Cadillac, Infiniti even, Lincoln. So all these brands are kind of competing for your dollar in this very competitive high 50s and up mid-size SUV category. One thing to note, this one only has 2 rows, but I believe you can get a 3rd row on the twin turbo V6. It's because of the sloping roof though, I don't know if it'd be very comfortable back there, but maybe for some children it'd be okay, but definitely not if you're an adult. Another cool little party trick I noticed was, if you're Uber driving or something, this is kind of nice. So you don't have to like reach around side, but you got nice controls there. I believe actually in the culture, don't quote me, but in Japan, I'm guessing in Korea, because this is Korean, a lot of these are used for chauffeuring. So maybe that's kind of carry over from, their domestic market offerings. So with that, we will get this thing on the road and see how it does after this little road trip today, and come back for a full review later on.